All right, the time is approximately 6 p.m. and the July 16th Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meeting will now begin. Good evening to those of you in attendance and online. Thank all of you for attending tonight's Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meeting. My name is Ron Pinchuk, and I am the chairman that will be conducting tonight's Planning Commission meeting. We appreciate that each of you has taken the time from your schedules to either attend or view tonight's meeting to observe how our town government works. All Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meetings are public notice per Tennessee State Law, TCA 8-44-103. All Planning Commission meetings are streaming on the Farragut YouTube channel, and links to the recordings may be found on the Town of Farragut website. Those in attendance should be able to pick up a copy of the agenda at the door. If you are not able to attend in person or viewing from home, you will be able to see the agenda posted on the Town of Farragut website. For any persons in attendance who would like to address this commission concerning an item on tonight's agenda, please pick up a blue card at the door, write your name, address, and agenda number that you wish to comment on, and give it to Haley down here in front of us. There will also be time reserved at the end of the business meeting for residents' comments on non-agenda subjects, which also requires that you fill out a blue comment card. Again, include your name, address, and topic of your comments. On each agenda item, the chairman will ask the town staff for Farragut residents' input. During this time, any Farragut resident wishing to speak to the Planning Commission on that specific agenda item will do so for up to 3 minutes. After being recognized by the chairman, please proceed to the podium, microphone, turn it on in order to be heard and viewed by all. To conduct efficient business-like meetings, the town has adopted rules for how the meetings will be conducted. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting progressing along, ensure that all points of view are heard and considered, and to provide common courtesy to everyone. We ask that you observe the established meeting rules when addressing members of the town staff and/or members of the Planning Commission. At the beginning of your presentation, please state your name and address for the record. We ask that you address the questions to the chairman. If necessary, the chairman may call on a commissioner or staff member to address your questions or comments. Once you have given your input, please return to your seat. We ask that persons avoid the use of improper language and profanity. Please also address the agenda issues. Speakers should strive to present original viewpoints and avoid redundancy. We ask that you also stand on topic of that specific agenda item. Everyone, please remember, we're here tonight doing the people's business, and it's a very important responsibility for all of us. Now, I ask that if you are able, please stand for a moment of silence for prayer and reflection, to be followed by the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag by Mayor Williams.
Please join me with the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Haley, can we have a roll call, please?
Oh, okay. I can do the roll call.
Okay, Mark.
Commissioner Green.
Here.
Vice Mayor Meyer.
Here.
Chairman Pinchuk.
Here.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams here.
Commissioner Myers.
Present.
Commissioner Preston.
Present.
Commissioner Pavlin.
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Present.
And Commissioner Devlin is absent.
All right, we've established we have a quorum, so we will proceed with the meeting. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Motion passes unanimously. Let's see, do we have any amendments to the minutes from the June meeting?
No, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Again, the motion passes unanimously. All right, we have 3 action items tonight and 0 discussion items. moving on to the first item.
Hey, Ron, Chairman, hold on one second. I think, are you having problems with the voting? Sorry. I think we need to check something on there. Her voting thing is not working, I don't think. Hold on, sorry, take a minute. That's all right, I didn't know either.
I mean, we're not electronically voting anymore, so is it a different system?
Well,
using?
she's doing it
she's doing it.
electronically.
Oh, she's doing
Y'all
it.
just don't have to do it on your computers,
And
is the
it reads
difference.
it.
I will make an announcement. We have Kaylee Chin here tonight. She's our new youth representative for those that haven't met her yet.
Welcome.
Welcome, Kaylee.
She will be a junior in the fall, and so we're glad to have her. I think she'll be a great addition. Okay, did you see that? If you can just go a little slower on the voting, and then we'll repeat, if you can repeat who made the motion and the second, so that she can get that.
Okay, I don't have to do it by hand right now, so.
All right, so let's go back to
I got the first two, so you're good.
going forward. Next item is election of officers. All right. Are we going to pick
Can we just do it
a
as a
slate, or are we
slate?
going to do?
Can we just do it as a
individual?
slate and move to keep the same slate we have? Chair Pinchak in place and Commissioner Deflin as vice chair. And are you still willing to serve as secretary?
Sure.
Commissioner Preston for secretary. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
I'm going to second Louise's motion for the slate of officers.
All right, any other comments or questions?
No discussion.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say yes.
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 Those opposed, say no. Again, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, are we ready to move on to item 4A, I believe? This is discussion and public hearing on a preliminary plat for Griggsby Park, Phase 2, 6.9 acres, 18 lots, zoned R4 and floodplain district, urban engineering applicant.
Yes, this is this is the next phase of Griggsby Park, townhome development off of Griggsby Chapel Road. The first phase was platted back in 2024, and it had 14 house lots. There's one building with 8 units that's been constructed so far in that phase. So this preliminary plat is for the next phase, which will include 18 dwelling units and also a community amenity center that would be part of the development. This particular phase will involve, I've got it on the screen here. Let me highlight a couple things. So here's Griggsby Chapel Road here on the left side of the image. And then as you come in, this is the first phase. There's a building here with 8 units that's been built. There's another building that hasn't been started here and then on the east side of the road. And this particular phase is in the middle. That's phase 2. And then eventually this third phase will build out the development, and then the rest of the area to the east, toward the interstate and to the east, is all really undevelopable. It's either wetland or floodplain. So the development overall, if you take the whole tract, it's about 75% open space. So it's a lot of open space. So this particular unit will cross a tributary of the North Fork of Turkey Creek here, and then also the Griggsby Chapel Greenway. And again, it would end roughly in this location, and this would serve as a temporary turnaround here for the access into the amenity area. This is a little bit more detailed version of phase 2 and what we're looking at. This particular development, I think we talked about this a few years ago when the original concept was presented to the Planning Commission. We were trying to figure out a way for this development to have a secondary access, because that is required in our subdivision regulations. And we really haven't been able to find a way to do that. There's unfortunately Chapel Point has a piece of property between the end of their road and this development, and they're apparently not willing to allow a connection there. And the area to the west, there's really not a lot of good options there either. So unless they can figure something out in the future, all the units are gonna have to be sprinklered. That'll be one of the staff's comments. And then when the third phase comes in, they'll have to request a variance from the cul-de-sac length, because it will be basically the whole street, and not having more than one access, if they don't have something by then. So the staff has reviewed this plan. We are recommending approval. There were 13 subject tos that were in the packet. I don't know if y'all have any questions on any of those or anything for the applicant. The applicant is here. This development has been bought, the rest of the development's been bought by a different builder and developer. And he's gonna finish out what's left in the first phase and also phases 2 and 3. So it's a completely different developer. And so, again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those.
Mark, before we proceed with any questions related to this, can you do the audience that may be watching a favor? Because we do this stuff and it becomes pretty routine, and then we forget that people don't understand. There's a lot going on here. Preliminary plat is how they start to get their infrastructure in. You're not allowed to build any buildings. It's putting their infrastructure in. Is that correct?
Yeah, the preliminary plat is really your construction plans for the public improvements that will service these 18 units in phase 2. So it's your streets, it's your utilities, your grading, your pedestrian facilities, unless they're gonna provide a letter of credit for those, because they probably will. They won't put the sidewalk in front of the
Till they're
units.
done.
Yeah. So those kind of things are what are covered under preliminary plats. And then once you finish all the construction and it's passed inspection, then they submit what's called a final plat. And that's what actually establishes the lots and the easements that allow those individual lots to apply for a building permit. So that's kind of the process with subdivision regulation.
So what we're doing right now is, certainly phase 1 is still in the middle of being constructed. So they've only constructed one of the buildings, and there's 2 more buildings, or?
Two more buildings in phase 1. Yeah. And they could be building on those because they've already been final platted, obviously.
Yes, those are final plat.
Right.
That final plat was approved in June of 24. If
24,
I look at
yep.
the notes. So they can continue to build on that. I get the feeling, and maybe Noah, you can confirm this, they're opening up this second phase and getting the infrastructure in so that they can go to final plat and maybe do it in a more cost-effective way, building both the remainder of phase 1 and phase 2 at the same time. I mean, they don't have to do it that way, but I assume that's what they're angling for. Is that what they're?
You'd have to ask Chris. I mean, generally speaking, that is to basically kind of diversify the risk by
Yeah.
doing it in multiple phases instead of spending all that money on the front end to build out the whole property.
Okay. I just wanted some clarity there, so, just so that so residents understand that they're not gonna start building the second phase of townhomes. They're just putting in the infrastructure that's going to support those townhomes at some point. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, before we proceed, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the 13 items.
Second motion.
She had that, hang on. Okay. Do we have any citizens signed up, Mark?
Yes, you do.
Oh, we do, I'm sorry.
It's Diane Hall.
I really don't want y'all to get tired of me. I just had something about this particular area. I've looked at it, I've talked to Mark about it, and I know John and I've talked about it. And so I just prepared some comments in concern to it, so I'll just read those. I appreciate the work that the staff has put into reviewing this application. The conditions they've outlined address important issues such as pedestrian safety, emergency access, stormwater management, erosion control, setbacks, and landscaping. These are all essential components of quality development. However, I want to speak to something that isn't captured in an engineering drawing. When I visited Griggsby Park, I was struck by the difference between the vision presented when this project was first approved and what residents experience today. The original concept showed a thoughtfully designed neighborhood with preserved trees, attractive streetscapes, open space, and a central gathering area. Today, Phase 1 still feels unfinished. While I understand developments are built over time and that a new developer has required the remaining phases, I believe each phase should contribute positively to Farragut from the day it is built, not simply after the final phase is complete. Every new development becomes part of the community's identity. Residents and visitors don't judge a neighborhood based on an architectural renderings. They judge it by what they see when they drive past it. As we consider this preliminary plat, I hope the new developer recognizes the opportunity before them. They have the chance not only to complete a project, but to restore confidence that Griggsby Park will become the high-quality neighborhood originally envisioned. I support responsible growth, but responsible growth also means accountability. It means completing projects well, maintaining them throughout construction, and delivering neighborhoods that reflect the high standards Farragut residents expect. I hope this project becomes an example of those standards, and I look forward to seeing this development fulfill the promise that was envisioned from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else signed up? Okay. You're up. Give us your name and address, please. Turn the microphone on. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, Brad Sharp with Urban Engineering, and then the address is 10330 Hardin Valley Road, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to what Mark said. I guess I could just reassure the lady that just spoke that I can reassure Diane that the new owners are adamant about, following through with what Farragut requires and living up to the standards of Farragut.
Who are the new owners?
I'm sorry?
Who are the new owners? Okay, what company are we?
Come on down.
My name is Tanner Ermack. I'm with the River Park Homes and Development, LLC. Okay.
Thank you.
You're okay with the subject twos? All the subject twos that we have on?
I went through the comments and they all looked, pretty minor
Okay.
for what we're used to, I guess.
But are you happy with them?
Of course, yes.
You're- okay.
We'll do whatever we'll make sure we satisfy all the comments and all the requirements of Farragut.
You have no problem with the sprinkler system?
They're aware of that and we're willing to do it.
Does Fire Marshal look this over, Mark?
Yes, he has.
The turnaround's gonna be okay down there at the, whatever that building's gonna be?
At the amenity area, yeah. Yeah, one of the reviewers of these plans is always our fire code official, so he's looked at it. He's good with it.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, there was something in here, I don't remember exactly where it was, something about the greenway. Is there an issue where we're crossing a greenway or?
Well, I
Just
think the
connecting to it.
comment
I was a little
was
conf- a little
to try to visually identify those crossings and maybe use them as an element of traffic calming. Maybe if there's an opportunity to have a raised crossing. That greenway, Griggsby Chapel Greenway, gets a lot of use, and so crossing it where streets come in it's important to make sure that's very visible and well marked. So that's kind of what that comment was getting at, and it's also if there's an opportunity to have some kind of, if you have like some kind of visual element on the street, in addition to signage, then that kind of helps, you know, a little bit with traffic calming, because people perceive that there's something ahead that they need to slow down for. It's not like a street that people should be driving that fast on, frankly. But there are some opportunities to maybe use those crosswalks as potentially an element of traffic calming. We've done that on quite a few projects, both commercial and residential.
So you've got both a stream crossing and a pedestrian crossing for the
Yeah.
Greenway?
Yeah, they're across the tributary of the North Fork of Turkey Creek, and then after that, going north, they cross the Greenway.
Cross it with what?
The street, the public
Can
street.
you show us on the map?
Yeah, well, so over here in this section is where phase one is. So the tributary area is through here, and there's an aquatic buffer associated with that of 60 feet. And then they cross that, and then the Greenway is coming through here. It's this line right here.
Okay.
They'll be crossing it right in this location. And then there's also an area up here that I was referring to on the sidewalks, that there'll be a sidewalk connection to the mail kiosk, which is in this location, and also to the amenity area. So that's another area where there's an opportunity to maybe use that crossing as a traffic calming element.
They're putting a bridge on the crossing, or is this just a pipe? What are we, concrete pipe, or what have we got going
That's
on?
my question as well, because I was over there just a few days ago, and there was a lot of water coming through that ditch. And that level down at the ditch is 10 to 15 feet below the level of the existing street that's there now. And that looks like a major project,
It's
getting that thing filled in.
It's a large culvert, and
How
it's
large?
been, I'm sorry?
What size culvert? And
It's on I'm pretty sure it's on the drainage plan, but I don't have it with me, but it's within our drainage calculations, and it shows the capacity, and, you know, it handles the 100-year event.
Is it a steel culvert, or is this a concrete?
It's I'm sure it's RCP. The pipe material would be RCP. I'm sure, I'm,
Yeah,
I'd
we
have
wouldn't
to-
allow
There's
steel, it's
very
definitely
little
our.
detail in the drawings that were presented in this package. Just showed one little sketch there. It looks to me that's a major project, because that's 100 yards maybe across there.
it goes through the state
From
as
From the end
well.
of the street over to where the greenway is, it's gonna be 100 yards at least, and 15, 20 feet deep probably.
How wide the culvert is?
Yeah.
I think it's basically the limits of the street width plus shoulder, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's bigger than that. No, it's
And
bigger
the
than
other
that.
thing I'm wondering is how, when you get to the other side, for the road that's gonna be a part of the new phase two, what elevation are you above the existing greenway? In other words, if you're coming down the greenway, what's going on?
The grades work, they work.
Because I looked, it appeared, you know, I'm looking through the trees.
You can see, I think that's the grading plan there. You can see the contours that run along the existing greenway. Well, it's existing there. Obviously, they'll have to tear up some of it and reinstall it per Farragut's specifications.
So, I can't read the numbers here, but, well, anyway, I'm not gonna try to redesign it here, but my concern was just what the mayor was saying, that looks like a major project. And we certainly don't wanna put a culvert in there that's gonna be a flooding problem.
No, yeah.
Because it looked like there was a lot of water going through there,
Mhm.
you know, and if it's a 3-foot culvert, it's probably not enough, so I don't know what
It's-
size.
8x6, it's a big box culvert.
Yeah.
That's one of the subject twos as well on here, you know, for them to document that the culvert under the North Fork.
Yeah, that's one reason
tributary
for
is
the
sized.
question, because it's a
Yeah.
little sketchy.
It has to be sized to accommodate the 100-year flood, because it is in the floodplain.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
Do we need to amend the motion? We didn't mention the exceptions.
Yeah. Oh, the subject is,
in my motion,
he said
referred to
13 subjects.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, everybody okay? No more comments or questions?
I do, I've got,
Oh, so, go ahead.
the front entrance is about as bad as it can look. I don't know if it look any worse. I mean, it's been that way for a while, but it looks like somebody graded it. I looked at it yesterday. And are you redoing that, entry level there by the sun?
I can't necessarily speak on that. So they had some concerns about the existing entrance, how it is currently set up or aesthetically.
That's our question.
Come on down.
I was gonna ask him, or talk to Mark about it. We have a new design for the entrance on our mind. And, as soon as, we are done with all the meetings, everything, we're gonna take over everything to, make the better entrance for that. And also we have the irrigation, and because we have the little disagreement with the previous developer because of there are some containers in that property. We had them, we made an agreement to, they needed to move those containers out. So we're gonna do the better green space for the, existing lots. We're not gonna be able to develop those lots before we start the second unit. We're gonna keep them, nice and neat, but, we have a different plan for the entrance, we're gonna do better looking, more attractive design for the entrance.
That's gonna have to go through VRB, you know that as well. You're designed for that.
Yes, that's what, we're gonna talk, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's,
Yeah, I think that was one of the new owners' goals, was to make that look better because it makes it more marketable. It's
Yeah.
just good business to make it look presentable, and
sure.
people would
Yeah.
more likely want to go in there and purchase a unit if it looks good.
Of course, in the entrance of the subdivision, there is a little difference on the asphalt, because this is not the final code, of course. We're not gonna be able to do anything till they, at least do the second phase, because we don't wanna run over on the.
construction trucks and
Yeah,
everything,
but for
understood.
for the entrance look, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be more attractive, hopefully.
Okay, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, time for a vote. All in favor of the motion with the subject twos, say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Opposed, say no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
appreciate you coming out, guys.
All right, next item. Item 4B. Discussion and public hearing on a final plat to approve the division of parcel 55, tax map 152, into two lots, and a request to approve a variance from the requirement in the subdivision regulations to construct a pedestrian facility along the parcel's frontage of Turkey Creek Road due to the minor nature of the subdivision, 0.63 acres, zone R2. Michael Ogle, Appalachian Surveys applicant.
Well, this is a property, the project that y'all are very familiar with probably by now. This is a parcel. It's currently one parcel, but, and it is bisected by Turkey Creek Road. It was sold on an online auction as two separate lots to two different property owners without being properly subdivided, and obviously through the planning commission. The issue was the non-lake portion, the larger part of the parcel, was purchased by a couple that wanted to build a house there, but there's already an existing house on the lakeside portion of this parcel, and the town zoning ordinance only allows one dwelling unit per lot. So, a workshop was conducted on this matter back almost really a year ago, July 17th, 2025. And at that workshop, the Planning Commission heard the background of this and was open to looking at a plat eventually, which is what we're doing now. But there was a lot of things that needed to be thought about before that. One of the things that came about with this is if this were legally subdivided, it would make an existing non-conforming parcel more non-conforming, because the parcel, when it was originally sold, was zoned agricultural, which has a 5-acre minimum lot size, and the overall parcel is much lower than that. The side that's opposite the lake is around 20,000 square feet, and the non-lake side is about 8,000 square feet now. So there was a recommendation given by the staff and the town attorney that they ought to request a rezoning of the parcel so that when it did have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, there'd be fewer variances that would need to be requested. And they did that. The rezoning went through the Planning Commission and the board, mayor and alderman. It was unanimously supported by both. And then they took their their project to the Board of Zoning Appeals at their meeting in February for a variance on the minimum lot size requirements in R2, which is what the property was rezoned to. That zoning district has a 15,000 square foot minimum lot size, which the non-lake portion of the parcel does meet that, but the lake portion, being around 8,000 square feet, did not. And the Board of Zoning Appeals unanimously approved the variance based on the unique characteristics associated with this situation and with the property itself. This is one of the few parcels where the house is actually on the lake side portion of the parcel. So, so now the plat is finally being presented to you all for a request to properly divide this parcel into 2 lots, and that would allow the owners of Tract 1 to apply for a building permit and build a house on that lot. So related to this plat, there's also a request for a variance associated with this plat only from the requirement in the subdivision regulations to construct a pedestrian facility along the frontage of Turkey Creek Road. It'd really be both sides, because Turkey Creek Road is classified as a collector street, and any subdivision on a collector street is required to build a pedestrian facility along their frontage. So they're requesting a variance from that requirement based on the minor nature of this subdivision. So the staff, you'll have to take separate action on the plat and the variance. The staff does support the plat. We do have a couple of subject twos. One is obtaining the required signatures, which is pretty standard. And then the second is adding a note that based on the current legal requirements, the resident structure shown on Tract 2, which is that house on the lake portion of the parcel, let's see, Tract 2 is allowed to remain provided the existing footprint is not altered other than complete removal. This structure is actually partially in the right-of-way, so after this project, so it's obviously non-conforming. And then with regards to the variance itself, the staff also supports that request based on the minor nature of the plat being presented at this time. The staff would recommend a note be added to the plat that the variance is only related to the plat being presented at this time, and that does not mean that the town couldn't come back at a future date, and we would obviously pay for it, and construct a pedestrian facility along the frontage of Turkey Creek Road. That variance is only related to the plat before you at this time. So with those clarifications, again, I think separate action would be needed on both the plat and then the variance itself.
Okay, we'll need a motion on the plat first then.
Is that the way it goes? We do the motion on the plat first or on the variance first? I thought we did the motion on the variance first.
I agree with Louise. I think
Yeah,
normally
you could
we would do the variance
yeah, do the
first.
variance
We're getting out of
first.
chronological order.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, do the variance first and then the plat.
Okay?
Okay, motion to approve the variance as stated.
Second.
Can we add, I'm sorry, can you just add to your motion that as stated, we need to have, I know you've just clarified it, it needs to be clarified on the plat that you're giving them a variance from having to construct the sidewalk themselves. It needs to specifically say the town of Farragut has the right to come in and install a sidewalk on the frontage.
The requirement's still in effect. is what
Yeah,
we're saying.
and that's kind of what I was talking about with them adding a note to the plat. I can work with Dave on that. I don't think they're gonna have any objection to that.
We just need clarity because that has been.
Yes, I understand, and
Yeah.
that will be clear on the plat. And I'll
It
get
will be
with,
clear in the motion is what we want to know.
Yes, it is clear.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody signed up to speak on this? Okay, is anybody here to represent the applicant? Hey. There you go. Name and address, please.
Dave Hall, 2042 Town Center Boulevard, number 334.
Okay. Anything you want to add or?
I'd love to be able to, but Mark always does such a full, complete job of recapping everything. I don't know what I could say that wouldn't be repeating his work. But I do just want to offer that I appreciate the way that you have worked with us on this long project. It has been a year. Thank you.
Do the commissioners have any comments or questions for him?
I just want to say government moving at the speed of government, so, but at least we've got a resolution.
Yes.
Well, we really thank you for being patient and going through the process that it takes to do what it, this is kind of a complicated deal.
It has been.
And it's not something that you run into on a daily basis or monthly basis or yearly basis. Matter of fact, it's probably the only time
Might be unique.
it's ever happened. So, but again, we're happy to make this work out.
Thank you.
For a lot of reasons.
Great.
Commissioners, comments or questions? Anybody? No? All right, we have a motion. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, say no. Motion passes unanimously. Good luck, we're moving.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more step. All right, now we need a motion on the plat.
All right, I'm going to take a stab at this. Make a motion to approve the plat as presented and including two plat notes. One plat note that has to do with the structure on track 2 that is allowed to remain providing the existing footprint is not altered other than complete removal. And then the second plat note addressing the sidewalk issue that the town of Farragut still reserves the right at taxpayer expense, however the town staff would like to word this, to build a pedestrian facility along the road frontage.
Second.
I've got a comment on that. Mark, whenever, if the structure is removed, then it needs to comply with the right-of-way. Part of it's in the right-of-way now, if I'm not mistaken. So that needs, if it's removed and rebuilt or whatever, it needs to comply with and be out of the right-of-way.
Well, quite frankly, if it's ever removed, there's probably no way any structure other than maybe a pavilion or a gazebo or something could be built there and still meet all the setback requirements. Is that a fair statement,
That's a
Mr. Shipley?
very fair statement, yes.
And that is our understanding.
Yeah.
And the owner that bought that, he and I've talked about it, and he understands that he can't do anything with that.
Yeah, he can paint it and renovate it, but he can't change the footprint.
Is anybody living in it?
No.
No? Okay, I didn't think so.
All right,
I seconded your motion.
okay, you got that? Are we clear on the motion, Mark? You okay?
Think so, yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
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 Those opposed, say no. Motion passes unanimously. 2 steps down. Item 4C, discussion of public hearing on a site plan for a 2,800 square foot addition to the Goddard School, Farragut, 125 Loudon Road, Zone C1, Studio 4 Design, Michael Graves Company applicant.
Okay, this particular item, I guess everybody's familiar with where the Goddard School is, Loudon and Roan intersection. There's a request to add about 2,800 square feet to the existing facility, which is roughly 8,200 square feet. So this is where the addition is proposed, around kind of the west end of the project. This proposed addition would add 26 additional children, the opportunity to have 26 additional children and 4 additional employees. This does, however, create a 2 parking space shortage based on the requirements for the overall parcel. There's a dentist office building here to the north of the Goddard School. It's on the same parcel. The Planning Commission does have the opportunity to allow a reduction from the required amount of parking, provided that an applicant can demonstrate that the parking that's available can accommodate the demands that would be typical throughout a majority of the year. That's something I think the applicant is here, they can maybe speak to that, but also there needs to be something in writing from the dentist office owner that they understand this addition will create a 2 parking space shortage and that they're okay with that, because they could be impacted by that if there's overflow parking that kind of extends over into their parking lot. The other kind of significant comment on this project, which is relatively minor from a site plan perspective, but there is a requirement in the zoning ordinance for fenced outdoor play areas. And the way it's worded in our current zoning ordinance, it's 100 square feet per child permitted by the state license. With this addition, based on the plans that were submitted, it appears that there could be 158 children that would be permitted under the state license. That would result in an outdoor fenced area requirement of 15,800 square feet, and they don't meet that requirement. They really don't have, as far as we could tell, space to be able to meet that requirement. So I did suggest to them that they should consider maybe a text amendment, because in the city of Knoxville, apparently the requirement is, and I think the state requirement is only 50 square feet. And then there's also, in the city's language, it's based on the children that are on the playground at any specific time, not just, because in the case of this facility, as I understand it, there would be about 40 kids on the playground at any one time. And they have plenty of play area to meet that requirement. It's just that the way it's worded in our current zoning ordinance, it doesn't have that language in there. So that would need to be, either they need to meet that requirement or request to modify the language to make it more clear, or make it in line with the state requirement, which is only 50 square feet, which would seem reasonable to me, or make it based on the number of children that would be using the playground area at any one given time. So that's the 2 relatively large comments on this. The rest of the comments on the site plan were some landscape related, some building code related, and just a couple of reminders and things, and relatively minor comments. But if y'all have any questions on either the parking or the outdoor play area, I'd be happy to try to answer those.
Mark, I do. Question, you mentioned getting in writing from, I guess, Dr. Chesney, dentist. Are you saying that he would need to approve that? He would need to agree to?
Yes.
Anything that the board, the planning commission?
Yeah, he would need to, because he's on the property.
Right.
And the addition is creating a non-compliant situation. So if we're gonna say that that's okay, and it may be, they may have enough parking, but I think he needs to weigh in on that and be comfortable with that.
Right, so you weren't suggesting something in writing from either planning commission or otherwise? It would be
From
a
Dr.
request. And
Chesney
then
or, yes.
And then with that question, I would perhaps ask the applicant or ask just to the members here if there's any awareness of current relationship there. Is there overflow that happens now there's already a relationship that's a positive experience to where, you know, we know ahead of time that that's going to be an ask that is accepted? That's about all I've got. Thank you.
Before we move on, we need a motion.
I'm struggling to see how we can approve a site plan knowing good and well we're going to put the applicant in a non-conforming situation without having some of these issues. The parking, I think you've offered a fair solution with cooperation from the dentist. The playground, to me, is kind of black and white. We're approving a site plan that is not going to meet the minimum requirements. And quite frankly, I'm probably comfortable matching up with the state requirements.
That, and I'm not sure why that went off, but it would have to be subject to the text amendment passing. So that's how you would deal with that. And then also subject to some written approval from the other property owner that they're aware that there's a two-space parking shortage being created by that. So, but that's up to you all as to whether you're comfortable with that. But it would have to be subject tos on both of those that ultimately would say that, yeah, they have addressed this. Because if the text amendment, they choose that route and it doesn't pass, then the site plan wouldn't pass because that's a subject to of the approval.
Does the applicant understand where we're going with this? I mean, we are putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but if it helps you out, you'll probably have to wait till I get out. But if it helps you out to go ahead and get this process resolved, that way then if you want to go down the text amendment avenue, which would probably be the easiest thing, then I'm happy to offer a motion subject to these items that we've discussed and the other in particular items that's spelled out by staff.
We do understand both of these items. The owners of the daycare are working with both the dental office and the shopping center that's in front of this where the Jets Pizza is, because they currently have an agreement where a lot of their staff parks in that shopping center because they're off times from when Jets Pizza operates most of the time when the daycare is operating. So they've got staff parking up there. We thought we'd have that paperwork here for you tonight. I think it'll probably be maybe tomorrow or the next day that we'll have that paperwork together.
That's information.
The text
we need.
amendment, we totally understand that process. And I would say that both the state is 50 square foot per student using the playground. It's not per total student. So
that's just a matter of changing that part of the language. We might not have to reduce it from 100 to 50. We just have to.
Yeah, the problem
even
is.
the 100 is totally acceptable. And I've kind of looked through similar municipalities all through the state of Tennessee, and most people either fall back to the state standard. I think Brentwood and Germantown had a 75 square foot per student. Just to give you an idea, student using the playground, not student total in the school.
Well, it's kind of hard for the staff to monitor how many students are on the playground at one time, so it's really easier and more objective to be able to tie it to how many total kids you're permitted by the state and follow that guideline. That way, there's no, trying to figure out, the bell schedule and what kids are out there at certain times. So I would encourage the staff and the applicant to try to work through something really easy to implement and ultimately regulate, which we really don't want to have to regulate, out there counting how many kids.
Absolutely.
And say, oh, you two got to go in and eat lunch because you have too many kids. So nevertheless, but the other things, we really can't deal with that tonight because it's not an agenda item. But what we can do is deal with the site plan and then make some of these items that are to be addressed, make them subject to ultimately your site plan being, so you would have a mostly approved site plan, but you're not really ready to go commence construction until you get these items taken care of.
I would reword subject number 2 in the motion because it just says that a fenced outdoor play area per the town zoning ordinance. We know he needs to amend that, so we need to restructure that language to say, text amendment to the town zoning ordinance, to, match the requirement, from the state of Tennessee or something along those lines, because this language doesn't say that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you're right. I mean, on face value, Louise is exactly right. The language just says, hey, you've got to meet 100 square feet
Yeah.
per kid, and you've got to figure out how you're going to do it before you have a fully approved site plan. So I do think kind of rewording this, saying, hey, subject to your ability to meet the minimum requirements for a play area, and that could be
Through a text amendment.
through a text amendment, or maybe there's some other way that you guys may determine how to skin the cat. That'll work here.
Mark, are you getting that? that language probably needs to be
Yeah, and
adjusted.
that was language that was in there when this was reviewed, so that was probably, I didn't know exactly whether they could meet it or not at the time, but that does make it more clear because they obviously don't meet it, so.
Willing to make that friendly amendment to your
Yes, I
motion?
am. I can't remember who seconded it.
Well, Haley, you remember who seconded?
I'll go ahead and second it.
We may not have a second on that.
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay.
All right, so we have an amended motion. We don't have to go, I mean,
Well, he meant, yeah.
he amended the original one. All right, so we got a motion
I seconded.
and Louis seconded. Any other comments or questions?
I have a comment on, item number 4 of the subject twos. Consideration for changing the dimensions of the building, is that something that you're interested in doing?
I think that was in case we could not meet the playground requirements. The only thing we could do is reduce the size of the building, so reduce the number of students.
Tree preservation.
You, go to the next page.
My number 4 is different than.
Yeah, right. Well, there were 7 originally, and then if you look at the
That's
proposed,
number
there's 9.
6, what he's
Number
talking
6.
about is 6.
He's talking about number 6.
Yeah,
And-
scroll down more, you'll see the proposed motion.
What that was talking about was there's 3 sycamore trees here in this corner. And if the building was going in this direction and not further south, then there would be a little more separation between those sycamores and where the building edge was. That's where the tree preservation was coming from. But there's also trees on the west side, so either way you go, you've got some potential impacts to trees. But those actually were really good-looking sycamore trees, which, when I looked at it in the field. So that's what that comment was related to, but, yeah.
I've got one as well. Are we out of areas that we could expand parking?
Yeah. Yes. On that site, yeah. Yeah, they've got, yeah, because this area here is, they've got the playground area, it kind of wraps around the building. So there's really nowhere to add parking here, and there's really nowhere here because you got a buffer zone here. So it's really, yeah, it's pretty much what you have is what you have.
So I get to the point to where we need the approval from either the dentist and/or the shopping center on whatever it is you're talking about for overage. Is that what?
Yeah, definitely the dentist, because he's on the same tract as Goddard School.
2 owners, right?
Yeah, 2 separate owners.
Got it?
Anybody else have any comments, questions? All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor of the motion, say yes. Yes. Those opposed, no. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next item, discussion items. We have nobody signed up?
No, sir.
So we're approval of utilities.
We have none this month.
Citizens forum. There's nobody else here.
None.
The time is approximately 6:54, and we